Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to do a 3-in-1 book review of some of Junji Ito's horror mangas. So I have, over the last couple of months, starting from October really, been diving into some of these amazing books and have almost been kicking myself that I haven't discovered this sooner. Like, I've always wanted to try Junji Ito, but I just never got around to it. But I saw a load of these really cheaply priced on Vinted. I think the main thing was they were just so expensive, understandably, because these are thick combined volumes with, you know, completely just artwork. You know, manga's predominantly art, so I can understand why it was expensive, but I just didn't want to pay that. So when I found them really good price, I was like, okay, let me get them. Anyway, so today I have Uzumaki, Gyo and Tomie to review. I may be pronouncing them incorrectly, but that's kind of how they are said in my head, so that's how I'll be referring to them in this video. So the first one that I read was Uzumaki, and I must say, I don't know if it was just because it's the first time diving into it, so it was all the excitement of like a new genre and a new style to me, but this was by far my favourite of all the ones that I've tried so far. So Uzumaki I ended up giving a 5 out of 5 stars. And in this one we are following we're following the characters of this small town that seems to be haunted by the concept of spirals. They see spirals in everything and everywhere, and at first it's just like a rare instance of certain individuals being haunted by the spiral, but then it becomes like town-wide and everyone is eventually sucked into this haunting of spirals, basically. So we are first following Kirigoshima, who is struggling with her withdrawn boyfriend, because it's his family that sort of stumbles on this fascination with spirals to begin with, and then that's when it just gets out of hand. So I was super impressed by the sheer level of detail in this, like from all the intricate spiral designs itself in terms of the art to the concept of this. Like, it's just such a strange thing to imagine, like the whole idea of a haunting but of spirals specifically. Like, where does that come from? I thought that was fantastic. The story itself was completely unique, unbearably creepy. I was disgusted, I was in awe, I want to turn away. I absolutely adored it. It was disturbing and gross, and it just did it so well. I think the story combined with the detail in the art just worked beautifully together, and it was a very uncomfortable experience that I very much enjoyed. Yeah, I definitely wanted to dip into more of Junji Ito's straight after reading this. And before I continue, I must say, even though you'll notice that my ratings go down as I read, I still feel that the creations are entirely unique, gory, beautifully designed, disturbing, uncomfortable. I do feel like there always is that sort of level throughout, and despite this being my highlight of the books, I did still enjoy these for different reasons, and I will continue to read Junji Ito's work, but this one by far was my favourite. So let's jump on now to Gyo. So this is a collection of volume 1 and 2 of Gyo, the Death Stench Creeps, and we are basically following another town who seems to be plagued with this rotten, decaying, fishy aroma. It's absolutely disgusting, and then they see the cause of that are these strange legged fish that have started to come to the surface, and again that sort of pandemic, if you will, spreads across Japan, and we are following Tadashi and Kaori as their two kind of main characters, who are a couple. I can't stand the girl, she really just annoyed me, but generally, oh my god, I was gripped. Okay, so this one I ended up giving a 4 out of 5 stars. As I say, it was another disturbing and uncomfortable read. I actually felt like the horror of these walking rotten fish was captured phenomenally in this. I don't even know, like, I felt at times like I was so immersed in it that I could smell the stench, and I also like So during reading this, I was feeling sick because I was like, the way it was described and the illustrations were just getting me on a different level that I felt ill. And that was awesome. Like, obviously not a nice experience, but the way that the story can, and Junji Ito himself can just invoke those emotions in the reader, phenomenal. As I say, I think in terms of storyline particularly, I did prefer Uzumaki and the spirals and that weird concept, but this still captured that unique horror that Junji Ito is definitely known for. I really like the extra content in this, particularly the short story of the enigma of Amigara Falls. It's funny because when I was reading Uzumaki at work on my lunch break, I ended up getting into a conversation with one of my colleagues who also likes Junji Ito, and he was telling me about a short story he had read like the synopsis for. He doesn't remember reading the actual manga of it, about like these hole shaped things in a mountain. I was like, oh, that sounds eerie. Come to find that it was that story, and it was in the back of this. So I sent him a message. I was like, is this the story he's talking about? And he was like, yeah. And I said, oh my gosh, the manga of it is horrifying. Like, there's just something about it. So basically the enigma of the Amigara Falls, there's a load of people on this expedition to these this mountaintop area because it's come on the news that there are all these weird people shaped holes. So people are just drawn to, first out of curiosity, but you find quite soon that people have this weird fascination and lure to find a shape that fits them, and it's disgusting. It made me feel sick. I think the actual idea of holes themselves, I think that's a phobia some people have, and I don't have that, I don't think anyway, but the looking at it and the concept of people going into these holes made me feel sick. It was gruesome, so I really enjoyed that as well. But yeah, enjoyed the story of Gyo with the walking fish thing, but the story itself, I don't know, maybe it just didn't go as far as I wanted to that Uzumaki did, or maybe it's because we had more time with Uzumaki and the story was more fleshed out. I don't know. I really enjoyed both though, but preferred Uzumaki out of the two. And then lastly, I have Tomie, which at the point of reading this, I have just finished last night, and we're basically following this femme fatale. I would describe her as like some sort of succubus, to be honest. She has long black hair, this very astounding beauty, and her defining feature is this beauty mark underneath her left eye, which is creepy because I have a beauty mark. Wait, which side is it? There. I was like, oh gosh, oh no, am I Tomie? So yeah, she basically can seduce nearly every man and drive them to murder her, but she keeps coming back again and again and again, always with that sort of outcome. I don't know why, either she gets murdered or something happens to the person that she is like intoxicated with and has been intoxicated by her. So yeah, oh yeah, it even says here, while one lover seeks to keep her for himself, another grows terrified of the immortal succubus. But soon they realise that no matter how many times they kill her, the world will never be free of Tomie. Okay, so this one I ended up giving a 3 out of 5 stars. And as I say, just rule of thumb for all of them, I still did enjoy them to a different level, a different degree. I think, I don't know, where Uzumaki was just so groundbreaking for me in the first one I read, I think it was like everything else had like a certain level to live up to, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I feel like for me personally, this particular volume, and I know they're all like bind up, so they are serialized thing, but this felt more noticeably serialized to me, and it almost felt like little anecdotes of random episodes of Tomie, and at that point it started to get a little bit repetitive. It wasn't adding much to the story, and I was thinking, I really preferred the more straight based stories of like Gyo or Uzumaki, where yeah, there may have been interconnecting things, but they all amounted and built to this concluding narrative. And eventually we did get that in this one, but it just took us all around the houses to get there, and I feel like some things could have been cut out, and it is a bit of a tome. Tomie is a tome, excuse the pun. And I just think it didn't need to be that much, if you know what I mean, because at that point it just didn't add anything extra. It just got really repetitive. Either Tomie was ending up being murdered or someone else was being murdered, and I read another review that said it just didn't have the creativity as the other ones, because most of the time they were just slashing her to pieces and ripping her up, and it was always pretty much that way that it was ending. So it didn't even have that level of body gore, which I started to enjoy in like Uzumaki and Gyo. It just didn't, there was something, yeah, it was gross and there was some really disgusting scenes, but it just was a bit lackluster in what I started to know Junji Ito for. Despite that though, Tomie, both the character and the story, is super messed up. This idea of like this succubus luring men to their doom, and always, I don't know, it's like she never learns, like she almost wants them to kill her and become so besotted with her that they are driven to this crazed mentality of wanting to end her life. And it's so intense. Really interesting kind of storyline as well there, but I don't know, I think it just had a little bit more of a shallow surface level concept than the others did. But yeah, so that is Tomie. So upon finishing these bind up collections, I realized there are quite a few adaptations, like movies, TV serializations of Junji Ito's work, so I'm definitely going to be on the lookout trying to find some of the movies, specifically Uzumaki. Like, I'm really interested in that. I think that's live action. I think Tomie's a live action one, and I think Gyo is an animated TV show, or maybe just an animated short film. But yeah, I really have enjoyed my foray into Junji Ito. Definitely going to be picking up more when I see them, but these were the main ones that I like recognise the spines and the covers that I really wanted to get to, and I'm glad I have them in my collection now. So do let me know if you have read any of these Junji Ito. I recently purchased the Shiva collection. I think some of the short stories in that may have some crossovers, and I think he's got other short collections that may cross over, but I think I'll eventually start collecting them. Also let me know if you have seen any of those movies, the adaptations. I would love to know. And yes, I will speak to you in another video soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.